Today's lesson is going to be on symbiosis. Symbiosis, what is it? What are the different kinds and examples of symbiosis, which we're going to learn today. Okay, the act of living together is the definition of symbiosis. What it means is that two organisms that live together temporarily or for a longer time. Now, sometimes this is not for the benefit of one of the organisms, but at least one of the organisms benefits from the relationship. Symbiosis is a close relationship between two or more different species. There it shows the bow without the arrow. You're nothing without me. That's the way some of the relationships occur in nature. Mutualism. This is a type of symbiosis between two organisms living together, which each one benefits from the other, meaning that both are going to share in the relationship and benefit from it. Here's an example: the moray eel with the cleaner fish. The moray eel gets a clean mouth, cleaner fish gets a clean meal, or gets a meal. Both benefit. The clownfish with a sea anemone. Most of you will have seen one of the shows on this, Finding Nemo. Clownfish gets protection, an enemy gets a meal. An enemy receives a meal from scraps, and the small fish lures in larger fish for the sea anemone. The antelope with the oxbird. Antelope gets rid of parasites, oxbird gets a meal. Mutualism, both benefit. Before we go back into commensalism, there's another one here that we see locally all the time, and that's the cattle egret and the cow. It's one that when the cow walks through the pasture and stirs up, or when the egret is feeding off the insects off the cow's back, it's getting a meal, and the cows are getting the insects off their back. And then it also can work in commensalism, by the way the cow walks through the pasture and stirs up insects, and then the egrets get to feed off the insects that's flying up. The cow don't know what's going on, but the egret is getting a meal out of the deal. And commensalism is an example of this. It's a symbiotic relationship in which two organisms live together and one organism benefits while the other is not affected. Moss growing on a tree, an example of commensalism. The moss does not harm or help the tree, but itself provided with a place to live. Here's the cattle with cattle egrets. Cattle stir up insects as they eat grass. Egrets hang around and eat insects. One benefits, one is unaffected. This can also work as a mutualistic relationship also. Parasitism. In parasitism, two organisms are living together where one organism is getting all the benefit and the other organism, the host, is receiving no benefit. The host may actually be harmed, and most of the time they will be. Fleas on mammals. Nobody likes fleas. They're getting a meal and you're getting the edge. Most parasites are smaller than their host. This Caribbean soldierfish is host to the parasitic isopod attached to its forehead between its eyes. The fish has no way to remove the isopod, which feeds on its body's tissue. Lice may occasionally be burdensome because of annoyance. Their presence may cause itching and loss of sleep. Louse saliva and feces may sensitize people to their bites, thereby exacerbating the irritation, increasing the chance of secondary infection from excessive scratching. This is something that usually occurs in elementary, sharing helmets or brushes and things like that, but it's feeding off the human, and it's getting benefit, and the human is not. Here's mosquito. Nobody likes mosquitoes. We face them in the summertime. They're not fun. I don't know what purpose they serve, other than that they are a nuisance. Heartworms live in animal hearts. This is not very pretty. If a heartworms get in dogs, most of the time it will actually end up killing them. Here's another one, predation, an interaction in which one organism hunts and kills another for food. Fox and a rabbit. Fox is the predator, the rabbit is the prey. The struggle, competition, is a struggle between organisms to survive in a habitat with limited resources. You know, a habitat can only hold so many. It's called its carrying capacity. So if this is disrupted where they have too many, they will eventually die out by competing for food. These are just more some unusual examples of animal symbiosis. What are the different kinds of symbiosis? Mutualism, both of them organisms benefit. Commensalism, one organism benefits, one organism is unaffected. And then parasitism, one organism benefits, one organism is harmed. And then also I mentioned predation, where one organism benefits and the other one is killed. Said a dung beetle's work is never done. No, there's always going to be feces. The last thing that I would like to talk about is going back to the well, all of them, matter of fact. But when things work together, you know, we don't see the effects of it so much unless one multiplies at a faster rate than one can supply the need. And a lot of times this is going to happen. You know, several years ago there was rabbits introduced into Australia. Within so many years there was millions and millions of rabbits. They didn't have anything to kill them. So then they introduced the coyotes, or the wool coyotes, I guess. And anyway, they started controlling because the rabbits were eating up all the farmers' crops. So a lot of times we don't look at it like that. You know, when we take something out of the environment, it's going to rightly affect something else. You know, you can't take the minnows and the small fish out of lakes and expect the bigger fish to get bigger. It's not going to happen. So, you know, everything works together for a purpose. And, you know, we can talk about the mosquitoes and the ticks. They do have some purpose. So a lot of times we don't know what they are. Snakes is another one. You know, they keep down the mice population. Small things like that. And, you know, sometimes we don't like them, but they do serve a purpose. So, thank you for listening today.